Aftermath of a lengthy rejection slip by Charles Bukowski. This is part 2. If you haven't listened to part 1, stop now, because it will spoil the story if you don't listen to part 1 first. Look, he said, I can make the cat shake hands. Shake hands. Shake hands. The cat rolled over. No, shake hands. Shake hands. The cat just sat there. He put his head down by the cat's head and talked into its ear. Shake hands. The cat stuck its paw right into his goatee. Did you see? I can make him shake hands. Mr. Burnett seemed pleased. Millie pressed tight against me. Kiss me, baby boy, she said. Kiss me. No. Good Lord, you gone off your nut, baby boy. What's eating at you? Something bothering you tonight, I can tell. Tell Millie all about it. Millie had got a hell for you. Baby boy, you know that. What's the matter, huh? Huh? Now I'll get the cat to roll over, said Mr. Burnett. Millie wrapped her arms tight around me and peered down into my upward eye. She looked very sad and motherish and smelled like cheese. Tell Millie what's eating you up, baby boy. Roll over, said Mr. Burnett to the cat. The cat just sat there. Listen, I said to Millie, see that man over there? Yeah, I see him. Well, that's Whit Burnett. Who's that? The magazine editor? The one I send my stories to? You mean the one who sends you those tiny little notes? Rejection slips, Millie. Well, he's mean. I don't like him. Roll over, said Mr. Burnett to the cat. The cat rolled over. Look, he yelled. I made the cat roll over. I'd like to buy this cat. It's marvelous. Millie tightened her grip about me and peered down into my eye. I was quite helpless. I felt like a still live fish on ice in the butcher's counter on Friday morning. Listen, she said, I can get him to print one of your stories. I can get him to print all of them. Watch me make the cat roll over, said Mr. Burnett. No, Millie, you don't understand. Editors aren't like tired businessmen. Editors have scruples. Scruples? Scruples. Roll over, said Mr. Burnett. The cat just sat there. I know all about your scruples. Don't you worry about scruples, baby boy. I'll get him to print all your stories. Roll over, said Mr. Burnett to the cat. Nothing happened. No, Millie, I won't have it. She was all wound around me. It was hard to breathe, and she was rather heavy. I felt my feet going to sleep. Millie pressed her cheek against mine and rubbed a hand up and down my chest. Baby boy, you got nothing to say? Mr. Burnett put his head down by the cat's head and talked into its ear. Roll over. The cat stuck its paw right into his goatee. I think this cat wants something to eat, he said. With that he got back into his chair. Millie went over and sat on his knee. Where'd you get that cute little goatee, she asked. Pardon me, I said. I'm going to get a drink of water. I went in and sat in the breakfast nook and looked down at the flower designs on the table. I tried to scratch them off with a fingernail. It was hard enough to share Millie's love with the cheese salesman and the welder. Millie with the figure right down to the hips. Damn. I kept sitting there, and after a while I took my rejection slip out of my pocket and read it again. The places where the slip was folded were beginning to get brown with dirt and torn. I would have to stop looking at it and put it between book pages like a pressed rose. I began to think about what it said. I always had that trouble. In college even, I was drawn to the fuzzy blackness. The short story instructors took me to dinner and a show one night and lectured me on the beauties of life. I had given her a story I had written in which I, as the main character, had gone down to the beach at night on the sand and began meditating on the meaning in Christ, on the meaning in death, on the meaning and fullness and rhythm in all things. Then, in the middle of my meditations, along walks a bleary-eyed tramp, kicking sand in my face. I talk to him, buy him a bottle, and we drink. We get sick. Afterwards we go to a house of ill fame. After the dinner, The short story instructress opened her purse and brought forth the story of the beach. She opened it up about halfway down, to the entrance of the bleary-eyed tramp and the exit of meaning in Christ. "Up to here," she said, "up to here. This was very good, in fact, beautiful." Then she glared up at me with that glare that only the artistically intelligent who have somehow fallen into money and position can have. But pardon me very much. She tapped at the bottom half of my story. "Just what the hell is this stuff doing in here?" I couldn't stay away any longer. I got up and walked into the front room. Millie was all wrapped around him and peering down into his upward eye. He looked like a fish on ice. Millie must have thought I wanted to talk to him about publishing procedures. "Pardon me, I have to comb my hair," she said, and left the room. "A nice girl, isn't she, Mr. Burnett?" I asked. He pulled himself back into shape and straightened his tie. "Pardon me," he said. "Why do you keep calling me Mr. Burnett?" "Well, aren't you?" "I'm Hoffman, Joseph Hoffman. I'm from the Curtis Life Insurance Company. I came in response to your postcard." "But I didn't send a postcard." "We received one from you." "I never sent any." "Aren't you Andrew Spickwich?" "Who?" "Spickwich, Andrew Spickwich, 3631 Taylor Street." Millie came back and wound herself around Joseph Hoffman. I didn't have the heart to tell her. I closed the door very softly and went down the steps and out into the street. I walked part way down the block, and then I saw the lights go out. I ran like hell toward my room, hoping that there would be some wine left in that huge jug on the table. I didn't think I'd be that lucky, though, because I am too much a saga of a certain type of person. Fuzzy blackness, impractical meditations, and repressed desires.